Death toll rising. Ukraine's health ministry saying more than 350 civilians, including 14 children, have been killed since the beginning of Russia's invasion. President Putin's nuclear forces are on high alert as the deadly fighting in Ukraine continues. The U.S. Embassy is urging American citizens to leave Russia. Ukraine's military has control over Kharkiv after heavy fighting on the streets. However, Putin's troops are inching closer to Kyiv. Negotiators from both sides are expected to meet tomorrow in Belarus. And take a look at this stunning video of a gas pipeline burning in the city, ignited after a brutal assault from troops. So many heart-wrenching images of devastation. The government is urging residents to shelter at home. We have crews around the world watching these fast-moving developments. Let's start with NewsNation correspondent Robert Sherman in Poland. And Robert, the staggering number of Ukrainians fleeing that war-torn country to where you are is growing. What are you seeing right now?
Well, Ruta Bay, where we are right now is a refugee camp about 10 miles away from the Polish-Ukrainian border. All day long, we have seen family after family, bus after bus arriving here to pick up well-needed supplies, bedding, toiletries, food, just to name a few of those items. For many of the people, it took everything to get here, but they're arriving here in Poland with next to nothing. This is the humanitarian toll war takes. Yulia Makieva fled Ukraine with her family, walking over 20 miles to get to the border. They're cold, tired, but safe in Poland.
Spiritually, we are not afraid anymore. We left everything behind, the whole house. We just took our clothes.
Makieva also left behind her brother, who was drafted into the Ukrainian military 4 days ago. Are you worried about your brother? Very. On the other hand, there's Dasha Mashinik, who fled Kyiv with her 3 children. She also left family behind.
My mother, she stayed in Kyiv. There is a shelling right now. Our house was hit. Now they sit in the basement.
The sound of air raid sirens ringing and tanks firing is an ever-present reminder of the potentially life-or-death violence playing out in Ukraine. Street fighting broke out in the center of Kharkiv as Russian troops entered the nation's second-largest city. The head of the Kharkiv Regional State Administration urging residents of the eastern city to stay in shelters and not to travel anywhere. Ukrainian forces had managed to deter Russian forces from entering Kharkiv for the past 3 days. Over in Ukraine's capital, the situation is also dire, as smoke appears on the horizon from explosions near Kyiv. Russian President Vladimir Putin choosing to stoke the fire by ordering Russian nuclear forces on high alert amid tensions with the West over his invasion of Ukraine.
Not only are the Western countries engaged in unfriendly actions towards our country in the economic field, I'm talking about the illegitimate sanctions everyone knows about very well, but the top NATO member countries' officials allow themselves aggressive statements towards our country as well.
The order means Putin wants Russia's nuclear weapons prepared for increased readiness to launch. It also raises the threat that Moscow's invasion and the West's response to it could boil over into nuclear warfare. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's office confirmed that a Ukrainian delegation would meet with the Russians for talks on the Ukraine-Belarus border, following assurances from Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko. The meeting is expected to take place Monday, but the Ukrainian president is not optimistic.
I will say frankly, as always, I do not really believe in the result of this meeting, but let them try, so that later not a single citizen of Ukraine has any doubt that I, as president, tried to stop the war when there was even a small, but still a chance.
President Zelensky had earlier said he would be willing to hold talks with Russia, but not in Belarus, pointing out that Russian military actions are being launched from the country which borders Ukraine to the north. Ukraine has said its Air Force shot down a cruise missile launched at Kyiv on Sunday from Belarus, and that the country has played an important role in Russia's invasion of Ukraine, an invasion that so far is responsible for hundreds of civilian casualties. For refugees like Yulia Makieva, she just wants this nightmare to end.
I just want the war to stop.
Dasha Mashinik, meanwhile, wants more action from U.S. President Biden.
Пусть как-нибудь воздействует на него.
He should be threatening Putin, as Putin is a threat to the whole world.
So those refugees you heard from and the ones that you can see behind me are just a few of the estimated 368,000 that have fled Ukraine. And that number will continue to increase. Not everyone got out, though. The UN has confirmed that 352 civilians have been killed, 14 of them children. Rudabeh.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.